interconnect a region of over 600 cultural bridges between our lands.
Hello, I'm Esther Adanga. Welcome to ASEAN in Focus.
Hello, I'm Gila Pablo, bringing you the news in the dynamic ASEAN region.
On today's headlines, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken formally declared Monday that the Myanmar military's attacks on the Rohingya in 2016 and 2017 was genocide, saying there was clear intent to destroy the Muslim minority.
Despite a decline in the number of new coronavirus disease 2019 cases and hospitalization in the country, President Rodrigo Duterte said he is not ready to lift the face mask requirement yet.
And hundreds of automotive enthusiasts take to the main street in Jakarta as MotoGP riders join a short parade in the Indonesian capital after meeting with President Joko Widodo. First in our news, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken formally declared Monday that the Myanmar's military attack on Rohingya in 2016 and 2017 was genocide, saying there was clear intent to destroy the Muslim minority. Take a look.
Beyond the Holocaust, the United States has concluded that genocide was committed 7 times. Today marks the 8th, as I have determined that members of the Burmese military committed genocide and crimes against humanity against Rohingya. The attack against Rohingya was widespread and systematic, which is crucial for reaching a determination of crimes against humanity. The evidence also points to a clear intent behind these mass atrocities, the intent to destroy Rohingya in whole or in part. Intent is evident in the military's efforts to prevent Rohingya from escaping, like soldiers blocking exits to villages before they began their attacks, sinking boats full of men, women, and children as they tried to flee to Bangladesh. This demonstrates the military's intent went beyond ethnic cleansing to the actual destruction of Rohingya. Among the most compelling material for reaching this decision was a 2018 report prepared by experts from the State Department, which focused on 2 periods of violence in Burma's Rakhine State, starting in October 2016 and August 2017, respectively. In both instances, the military used similar tactics targeting Rohingya: the razing of villages, killing, rape, torture, and other horrific abuses. The military's attacks in 2016 forced nearly 100,000 Rohingya to flee to Bangladesh. In 2017, attacks killed more than 9,000 Rohingya and forced more than 740,000 to seek refuge in Bangladesh. But let me close by saying something about the path out of genocide. Today's determination is one step on that path, as it tells Rohingya, and victims in particular, that the United States government recognizes the gravity of the atrocities committed against them. And it reaffirms Rohingya's human rights and dignity, something the Burmese military has tried to destroy. The day will come when those responsible for these appalling acts will have to answer for them. Ultimately, the path out of genocide also leads home.
The United States' move did not come with new direct repercussions against the already heavily sanctioned Myanmar regime and dozens of members of its leadership. But Blinken said it will support international efforts, including in the International Court of Justice, to bring cases of crimes against humanity against the regime. Blinken noted 2017 remarks by Min Aung Hlaing, the commander-in-chief of Myanmar military, that the government was solving an unfinished job in its destruction of Rohingya communities. Blinken added that Min Aung Hlaing led the 2021 coup, overthrowing the elected government of Myanmar.
ASEAN Special Envoy met with Myanmar's junta chief on Monday in the regional bloc's latest attempt to jumpstart dialogue between the military and opponents of its coup and bloody crackdown. Cambodian Foreign Minister Prak Sokhonn and junta chief Min Aung Hlaing discussed the situation of protest and violence stemming from political disagreement and humanitarian cooperation, the junta's information team said in a statement. The envoy's visit, which ends Wednesday, is aimed at encouraging political consultations with all parties concerned, according to an earlier statement from the Cambodian government that did not provide details. Prak Sokhonn had previously requested to be allowed to meet with members of a national unity government dominated by lawmakers from Suu Kyi's ousted party that is working to overturn the coup. The junta, which has classified members of the shadow government as terrorists, swiftly rebuffed the request. Last year, the junta refused to grant ASEAN's then special envoy permission to visit Suu Kyi, who has been detained since the coup. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations has led stalled diplomatic efforts to end the chaos unleashed by last year's putsch, which ousted Aung San Suu Kyi's government and sparked mass protests.
In other news beyond the region, U.S. President Joe Biden said Monday that it's clear Russia is considering the use of chemical and biological weapons in Ukraine and warned of a severe Western response if it chose to do so. His back is against the wall, said Biden of Russian President Vladimir Putin, noting that Russia has recently accused the United States of holding chemical and biological weapons in Europe. Simply not true, I guarantee you, he told a gathering of U.S. business leaders in Washington. They are also suggesting that Ukraine has biological and chemical weapons in Ukraine. That's a clear sign he's considering using both of those, he said. His warning echoed statements made by his administration earlier this month, as well as other Western nations, after Russian officials accused Ukraine of seeking to hide an alleged U.S.-backed chemical weapons program. Biden on Monday also reiterated that such an action would prompt a severe but so far undefined response from Western allies.
In this latest video addressed, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky accused Russia of bombarding a Mariupol school sheltering hundreds, calling it an act of terror that will be remembered even in the next century. He said Russian forces have come to exterminate us, to kill us. It was the latest potentially devastating strike on a shelter for civilians. Last Monday, a theater where authorities said more than 1,000 people had sheltered was hit, with hundreds still presumed missing in the rubble. Mariupol officials have said occupying forces have forcibly transported around 1,000 residents to Russia and stripped them of their Ukrainian passports, a possible war crime. A group of children stuck in Mariupol clinic for weeks are among those who have been taken to Russian-controlled territory, a carer and a relative of a clinic worker told AFP. The 19 children, aged between 4 and 17, and mostly orphans, had been living in freezing cellars, hiding from shelling in harrowing conditions.
Kiev Mayor Vitaly Klitschko announces a new curfew for the Ukrainian capital today that will last until Wednesday morning. Take a look.
Комендантська година в Києві та в області знову буде посилена. Розпочнеться вона сьогодні у 20:00 і триватиме до 7 ранку, 23 березня, тобто до післязавтра. Магазини, аптеки, заправки, установи працювати завтра не будуть.
The Ukrainian capital has had a series of curfews since the start of the war nearly 4 weeks ago, with the latest one lasting 35 hours last week. Russian forces have penetrated Kiev's suburbs on several sides, but have not entered the capital, where streets have been heavily fortified against the expected assault. Meanwhile, here are images of rescue crews picking through smoldering rubble as bodies lay on the ground after a deadly overnight Russian strike hit a popular shopping mall in northwestern Kiev. At least 6 people were killed in the bombing.
Good compliance seen as Malaysia sees first day of back-to-school operations. Here's Alfred Balmes joining us live from Malaysia for more details. Alfred?
Hi, Jalai. Good afternoon. According to that of Dr. Ma Hangson, the first day of school operation and adherence to standard operation procedures at school here ran smoothly. The Deputy Education Minister said teachers at SJKC, Bukit Fraser, and Bantar Saujana Putra had done a good job in assisting the public's pupils on their first day on the 2022 to 2023 school year. During the press conference Monday after visiting SJKC Bukit Fraser, he said that this is a new school and although it has capacity to fill 240 pupils, about 198 registered they attendance today. Dr. Ma added he monitored the pupils' school bags over concern on the weight on their bags. Previously, Education Minister Dr. Radsi Jidin said the locker will be provided in 2 phases starting this year to address the heavy school bags issue. The first phase will involve years 1, 2, and 3, and the second phase will involve years 4, 5, and 6 pupils in 2023. He added for single-session school, pupils will keep their books in their desk drawer and their respective classroom. Back to you, Jella.
Thank you, Alfred, for that details. You stay safe.
Likewise, live reporting from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, this is Alfred Balmes. We live in interesting times.
And the news continues here in ASEAN in Focus. We will be back right after this.
Hoy, Mr. Pwede! Masama at bawal ang pag-inom!
Diyan ka na naman sa kakabawal mo, Mr. Bawal eh. Napaka-KJ mo.
Walang magandang dulot ang pag-inom! Lalo na't eleksyon ngayon! Bawal yan!
Ayon sa Omnibus Election Code, ang pagbibenta, pagbili o pag-inom ng alak sa araw ng eleksyon ay isang election offense.
Inggit ka lang. Oye, oye! Pakawalan niyo ako! Hindi na ako uulit!
Hay nako! Nasa uli talaga ang pagsisisi. Don't drink and vote. Ako si Mr. Bawal na nagpapaalala na hindi na nga mabuti ang pag-inom ng alak, tapos sa eleksyon, gagawin mo pa? Bawal yan!
A public service message of Net25 for Mata ng Halalan 2022. Matatag, matapang, matapat.
Welcome to Mobile Legends!
Welcome back. Despite a decline in the number of new coronavirus disease or COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations in the Philippines, President Rodrigo R. Duterte said he is not ready to lift the face mask requirement yet. In a pre-recorded public address aired Tuesday morning, Duterte said he is not keen on relaxing face mask protocol yet because this reduces the chance of spreading COVID-19. However, he said he sees no problem doing away with wearing face shields over masks and plastic barriers. Let's take a look.
Itong mask na maraming nagtatanong. Alam mo, I am not ready to order the removal of the mask. Pero siguro yung plastic na cover, pwede na yun. Pero it has done a lot of good. Prevented the contamination from spreading. So, matagal pa ito. And there are reports that said that I don't know if it's subject to confirmation na may bagong COVID found in Israel. So, whether we like it or not, kung totoo yan, it will reach again the shores of our country.
Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergara said the new COVID-19 variant is still being studied, adding that the World Health Organization has no further announcement yet on the matter. In its latest case bulletin, the DOH said there are 3,572 new cases of COVID-19 in the country from March 14 to 20.
Vaccination and COVID health restrictions have significantly decreased in the country. But an expert warned the country could still have a COVID resurgence. Let's listen in.
Well, pinag-aaralan naman lagi. May metrics naman po talaga tayo at yun nga, yung alert level 1 kasi 100% naman yung capacity. But really the questions are if kailangan ba natin i-retain itong mga dedicated beds sa hospitals or baka pwede ng accordion, pwede na ba nating pag-isipan kung there are situations where we can relax the mask mandate. At lahat po ito pinag-aaralan at sa ngayon, I think kabado rin lahat kasi nakita natin halos 200,000 cases per day sa Vietnam, umabot ng 600,000 cases sa South Korea in a day. So I think that everybody is more in favor of a cautious approach. Pag-aaralan natin kung magbigay pa tayo ng more concessions sa mga to na safe, bakit hindi? Pero sa ngayon, there's a lot of uncertainty. And right now, swerte talaga tayo, mababa pa rin yung cases natin. But this can change, lalong-lalo na pag masyado nating mabilis i-decrease yung ating restrictions. Dahil for now, gumagana naman ang masking natin, ang ating vaccination rates, at yung mga protocols natin at sumusunod naman ng mga tao. Well, yung tinatawag na hybrid immunity, dalawang klase ito. So, kung nagkaroon ka ng COVID, tapos nagpabakuna ka. So, hybrid immunity yun. Or kung nabakunahan ka, tapos nagkaroon ka ng breakthrough infection, ang tawag doon hybrid immunity. Parang na-boost ng natural infection yung iyong dating pagbabakuna. Now, in general, ayaw mo talaga mahawa ng COVID as much as possible dahil kahit bakunado tayo, mababa yung chance na mamatay, pero hindi po pa rin yung zero. Pero kung magkaroon ng isang breakthrough infection or nagkaroon na kayo ng COVID at nagpabakuna kayo, that kind of immunity is actually the most durable and the most effective. Dahil kinumpara po nila yan sa mga taong hindi pa nagpapabakuna natural immunity. Malayong-malayo po talaga yung epekto compared to hybrid immunity. At doon naman sa mga nabakunahan at hindi pa nakaka-COVID and later on nagkaroon ng breakthrough, hindi pa rin kasing lakas compared to doon sa hybrid immunity. The best pa rin is hindi po talaga tayo mahawa at tuloy po tayo magpa-vaccinate and magpa-boost. Ngunit kung magkaroon man ng breakthrough infection, yung risk na mild lang yung lalabas at yung subsequent immunity and protection against reinfection, napakalakas po.
Now let's go over to Vietnam, where the country reported 131,713 new COVID-19 cases on Monday, down 9,438 cases from Sunday, according to its Ministry of Health. The new infections logged in 63 localities nationwide included 131,709 domestically transmitted and 4 imported. Vietnamese capital Hanoi remained the epidemic hotspot with 17,916 cases on Monday, followed by Central Nghệ An province with 5,403 cases and Northern Phu Tho province with 5,348 cases. The infections brought the total tally to 8,089,761 with 41,949 deaths nationwide. 4,282,668 COVID-19 patients, or 53% of infections, have recovered. More than 201.8 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines have been administered in the country, including 184.8 million shots on people aged 18 and above, said the ministry. Vietnam has gone through 4 coronavirus waves of increasing scale, complication, and infectivity as of Monday. It has registered nearly 8.1 million locally transmitted COVID-19 cases since the start of the current wave in April 2021, said the Health Ministry.
Vietnamese Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh and Malaysian counterpart Ismail Sabri Yaakob welcomed the early conclusion of the agreement on mutual recognition of COVID-19 vaccination certificates during their summit meeting in Hanoi on Monday. The two prime ministers expressed their relief that the move will facilitate the safe and regular commercial travel between both countries. Vietnam has reached agreement on mutual recognition of vaccine passports with 17 countries, namely the US, the UK, Japan, Australia, Belarus, India, Cambodia, the Philippines, Maldives, Palestine, Turkey, Egypt, Sri Lanka, New Zealand, Singapore, St. Lucia, and the Republic of Korea, according to Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lee Thi-tu-hang. Speaking at the summit meeting, Prime Minister Ismail Sabri said Malaysia always gives high priority to strengthening cooperation with Vietnam, the only strategic partner of Malaysia in Southeast Asia. The two prime ministers reiterated their resolve and agreed on major orientations to foster cooperation on all fields in favor of the two countries' post-COVID pandemic recovery. Through the exchange of delegations at all levels, promoting the role of bilateral cooperation mechanisms, and fruitfully implementing the action program for the Vietnam-Malaysia Strategic Partnership in the 2021 to 2025 period. They agreed to soon realize the trade goal of $18 billion or higher by 2025 in a balanced manner and work together to mull over a mechanism on information sharing regarding trade remedies.
Thailand registered 83 more COVID-19 fatalities and 21,382 new cases during the previous 24 hours, the Public Health Ministry announced on Tuesday morning. The new caseload declined for the 4th consecutive day from Friday's all-time high of 27,071 and was 2,059 lower than 23,441 new cases reported on Monday morning. 5 fewer deaths were recorded in the 24-hour period. All but 58 of the new infections were transmitted inside Thailand. Since the pandemic started in early 2020, there have been 3,398,792 COVID-19 cases, including 1,175,357 this year, with 3,137,561 complete recoveries to date.
The BRP Gregorio del Pilar, one of the largest vessels of the Philippine Navy, has successfully completed 2 sea trials and is now nearing operational status more than 3 years after a grounding incident in 2018. ICOT and patrol ship under the Offshore Combat Force, BRP Gregorio del Pilar, has successfully completed 2 sea trials that included the testing of the ship's main and auxiliary engines, propellers, and other related systems. The sea trials conducted are aimed at assessing the vessel's seaworthiness, according to Navy spokesperson Commander Benjo Negranza in a message to reporters Tuesday. These sea trials took place earlier this month in Subic Bay, Zambales. He also added that the ship is also scheduled to have its operational readiness evaluation. In the ORE, Negranza said the ship's degree of readiness and its crew on various conditions such as standard drills and exercises required for a wide range of missions is evaluated. Stay tuned for more news. We'll be right back after these short messages.
Paano makakaboto yun? May kapansanan nga. Paano naman sa mga no read, no write? Hindi pa rin pwedeng bumoto.
Pwedeng bumoto! Ang mga illiterate o ang mga hindi marunong magbasa o magsulat, maging ang mga PWD, may karapatan silang bumoto.
Paano?
Maaaring magdala ng mga kasama ang mga illiterate at PWD para maalalayan sila sa kanilang pagboto o sa mga pagkakataong kailangan nila ng tulong.
Kahit sino, pwede nilang isama?
No, dapat kamag-anak na kadugo ng botante ang kasama nila. Magdala lamang sila ng PWD ID. Ano bang kapansanan ng kakilala mo?
Ayun, nakahiga lang eh. Hindi makabangon. May sakit daw siyang love nut.
Hindi kapansanan yun. Alam ko na. Eto sa balutamol, balutromycin. Pakainin nyo para ganahan. Para sa karagdagang kaalaman, makipag-ugnayan lang sa pinakamalapit na barangay o bisitahin ang COMELEC website.
A public service message of Net25 for Mata ng Halalan 2022. Matatag, matapang, matapat.
Alam namin ang iyong pagsisikap. Dama namin ang iyong mga sakripisyo. Kita namin ang pagharap mo sa bawat pagsubok. Kaya sa kabila ng mga hamon ng buhay, nandito kami para umalalay. Kasi katulad mo, gusto rin namin ang magandang bukas para sa kanya. Hatid namin ang dekalidad na edukasyon at makabagong pasilidad sa abot kayang halaga. Kaya huwag ka na mangamba. Sasamahan ka namin tuparin ang mga pangarap niya. Maaasahan mong sulit dito ang mga pinagsikapan mo. Sa aming mga makabagong pasilidad at sistema ng edukasyon. Ay lalabas natin ang aking talino at mga kakayahan niya. Kahit sa munting halaga, makakasiguro ka na makakasabay siya sa mabilis na pag-ikot ng mundo. Sa New Era, karamay mo kami sa bawat hamon. Kaagapay mo kami sa bawat hakbang. Kasama mo kami sa bawat ngiti at tagumpay.
Jingo! Bitiwan niyo ako! President na, parang awa niyo na! Hinihiling ko na buksan ulit ang kaso niya. Bitiwan mo ako, sabi!
Kita mo muna ang tiyan mo!
Matuto kang gumalang sa babae. Naintindihan mo ba ako?
Alam ko ang ambisyon mo matagal na. Pero akong pinakamatandang anak ng pamilya. Ako ang karapat-dapat na
Ano?
tagapagmana.
Siya pala si Nari. Siya ang apo ni President na ng Gusong Group. Magvi-video lang ako saglit kaya paantay na lang ako, ha?
Kilalanin at makihang-out sa kanila. Never twice. Weeknights pagkatapos ng panalo o talo, it's you. Dito lang sa Net25, primetime ng pamilya. Let's get together sa init ng summer.
Going back to the Philippines, amid criticism over the measly 200 peso monthly fuel subsidy that the government plans to distribute to poor Filipino families amid the fuel price crisis, President Rodrigo Roa Duterte on Monday said he instructed Finance Secretary Carlos Sonny Dominguez III to increase the aid to 500 pesos. In a speech delivered at Malacanang Palace, Duterte said he obtained feedback from the ground that the 200 peso monthly cash aid was too small and could not sustain a family of 3 to 5 members. Take a look.
There are, I'd like to announce na sabi ko kay Sane, but also from the ground, yung feedback, yung ayuda niya na 200. Sabi ko rin sa kanya talaga, it's too small. Too small sa isang buwan. Kaya sabi ko, hanap ko ng pera saan. Nagbubulungan kami. Kung masyadong mababa yan. Cannot sustain a family of 3, even 4, 5. You know, yung sa baba, pinakamaraming anak. They are the productive Filipinos for tomorrow. Pag hindi ngayon. So sabi ko kay Sane, it will be a uphill battle for the next generation kung gawain natin ang 500.
The move to provide a monthly fuel subsidy came alongside Duterte's decision to retain the excise tax on different fuel products. The DOF said the suspension of fuel excise taxes would lead to a massive revenue loss of 105.9 billion pesos, or about 0.5% of the country's gross domestic product for GDP this year.
Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Sen welcomed his Japanese counterpart Fumio Kishida at the Peace Palace in Phnom Penh. The two leaders discussed ways to promote ties and strengthen cooperation, according to a joint statement issued after their meeting. Kishida and Hun Sen also discussed regional and international issues, including war in Ukraine and Myanmar crisis. The two leaders condemned Russia's aggression in Ukraine and called for an immediate stop of the use of force and the withdrawal of the military forces from the territory of Ukraine, according to the joint statement. The statement said Kishida and Hun Sen stressed neither threat nor use of all kinds of weapons of mass destruction can ever be accepted in any occasion. On the Myanmar issue, the two prime ministers called for the immediate cessation of violence and the release of political detainees, as well as return to normalcy.
Vietnam has reached agreement on mutual recognition of vaccine passports with 17 countries, according to Foreign Ministry spokesperson Le Thi Tu Hang. These countries are the United States, the United Kingdom, Japan, Australia, Belarus, India, Cambodia, the Philippines, Maldives, Palestine, Turkey, Egypt, Sri Lanka, New Zealand, Singapore, St. Lucia, and the Republic of Korea, Lay said Monday. In addition, Vietnam has temporarily accepted vaccine certificates of 79 countries and territories, she added. The mutual recognition of vaccine passports or certificates aims to facilitate travel between Vietnam and countries around the world as Vietnam began to reopen borders to foreign arrivals from last November and fully resumed international tourism from March 15.
The government has extended visa on arrival program to cover international travelers arriving at I Gusti Ngurah Rai International Airport, Bali from 42 countries. Tourism and Creative Economy Minister Sandiaga Uno has said. The facility was earlier extended to travelers from 23 countries. According to UNO, the VOA program for foreign tourists will be effectively implemented while waiting for the issuance of a new circular letter. I quote, "So the direction from the president is that the expansion of the VOA and no quarantine policies must be realized. We are currently coordinating and hopefully on March 2022, the circular will be issued," UNO said at a weekly press briefing here on Monday. Tourists from Australia, the United States, the Netherlands, Brunei Darussalam, the Philippines, England, Italy, Japan, Germany, Cambodia, Canada, China, and South Korea will now be allowed to enter Bali using VOA. The list of countries includes Laos, Malaysia, France, Qatar, New Zealand, Singapore, Thailand, Turkey, the United Arab Emirates, and Vietnam. The facility has also been extended to South Africa, Saudi Arabia, Argentina, Belgium, Brazil, Denmark, Finland, Hungary, India, Mexico, Myanmar, Norway, Poland, Seychelles, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, Taiwan, and Tunisia.
Hundreds of automotive enthusiasts take to the main street in Jakarta as MotoGP riders join a short parade in the Indonesian capital after meeting with the President Joko Widodo. Take a look.
Saya sudah sampaikan tadi, saya tidak naik motor karena tidak diperbolehkan dari sisi keamanan. Jadi tadi saya lemes itu.
Oleh Bapak Presiden kita dari MotoGP di akhir pekan nanti pastinya.
Indonesia hosts its first motorcycle Grand Prix in 25 years on Sunday, confident that concerns surrounding the new track will be forgotten once racing begins in front of a sellout crowd. The archipelago nation of 270 million people is motorbike mad. Many get around on two wheels, and there is a palpable sense of excitement at the prospect of the world-class racing returning. Even President Joko Widodo is a fan and tried out the Mandalika International Street Circuit when he officially opened it in November, having a go on a custom-made green Kawasaki bike. Sunday's race is the second stop on the 2022 MotoGP calendar after their opening race in Qatar 2 weeks ago, won by Enea Bastianini of Italy. The new 4.3-kilometer or 2.7-mile circuit hugs white-sanded coastline on the island of Lombok, which wants to rival its best-known neighbor Bali as a tropical holiday destination. The track complex is part of those ambitions. There is a great anticipation, but also angst and anger. The circuit is part of a mega-tourism infrastructure project denounced by the United Nations over the eviction of families. Some refused to leave and were still encamped at the track in November.
And that's the latest news in the ASEAN region. And thank you for joining us today here in ASEAN in Focus. This is Zira Pablo from your Thailand Bureau.
And I am Esra Adanga, and we live in interesting times.
Dumating na yung memo galing Office of the Ombudsman at itutuloy nila ang kaso against me.
Yung tatay ni Luz, yun ba yung tatakbo?
Opo.
Naku, sigurado madadaya na naman niya sa bilangan.
Ang talino. Talino eh.
Ako na muna mag-asikaso ng mga kailangan dito kasi may pupuntahan lang ako. As in, importante lang yung pupuntahan ko.
Panalo o talo, it's you! Weeknights pagkatapos ng Mi Esperanza. Dito lang sa Net25, Prime Time ng Pamilya. Sabi nila, habang buhay na karugtong ng puso ng ina, ang puso ng anak. At kapalit ng hirap na pinagdaanan ng isang ina sa pagsilang ng anak ay pag-ibig na busilak.
Parang hindi ko na kaya.
Paano kapag ang mag-ina ay di sinasadyang pinaglayo ng tadhanang mapagpiro?
Anak, huwag ka matakot. Nico! Kailangan ko lang na si Nico! Hindi nila siya mahanap. Anong sinasabi mo? Sabi
nila
mo,
siya
dumating ang mga
mahanap.
taong di mawawala ang anak ko. Ligtas siya. Hindi siya patiusap mo pinahayag ka. Hindi ka sa akin pakiusap.
Matuturuan ba ng ina ang puso na sumuko?
Pero sir, baka nandyan lang sa tabi-tabi ang anak ko.
Malugod na inihahandog ng Net25 ang isang kwento ng pangako ng pag-ibig. Tuloy-tuloy uusig, hinding-hindi patatalo. Palabra de Abo. Weeknights pagkatapos ng Never Twice, dito lang sa Net25, Prime Time ng Pamilya. Let's get together sa init ng summer.